Start it up.
Wow. Okay. Welcome back to the MBH podcast. Money buys happiness. I said I was gonna do it different, but you know me. I just didn't do it. I don't know what else to say. It is season 3, episode 5. Wow. Okay, I got that one on the. Thanks, Dean. Appreciate that, man.
Yo, Dean's joining us, by the way. Now, Dean's mic'd up.
Yeah.
What up?
There we go. Let's go.
We're just changing the game. You know what I mean? He always has a 1-2 comment. We're like, fuck, give this guy a fucking mic. No, it's been what? It's been 3 seasons now.
It's been about a year, 3 seasons.
Yeah.
It's all about growth, Dean.
Hey, it's got the age and the wisdom. Age and wisdom, baby, right here.
That's it. Well, you know, it is a special episode today. We have a super talented photographer, videographer, blogger, content creator, a little bit of everything. Jason, how do I pronounce the last name? Pagaduan, aka 905 Shooter, is probably how you guys know him. What's going on, man? How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm
Welcome,
very
bro.
excited for this this podcast. It's the first podcast I've done in over a year now.
Damn.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, welcome,
it's been kind of crazy times, but welcome. Yeah, it's gonna be. We're excited. We're excited to get this one going. It's been kind of a month in the making.
Wow. Yes.
Yeah.
I was talking to Ernesto about this.
Yeah.
And we were just talking like, hey, can I hit you up and do a podcast?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, sure. Come along, you know? Because, like,
Yeah.
I just don't know. I didn't know when this was going to happen because of COVID. And
Yeah.
it's just, like, difficult, especially with the lockdowns and, you know, with stay-at-home orders. It was just crazy. And so I'm just kind of, like, excited, but I'm also nervous because, like, you know, like, I'm really trying to articulate what I want to say, and I don't want to, like, say the wrong things and then look back and be like,
Nah, don't worry.
I shouldn't have said that.
Nah,
you know?
No,
It's
you're
all
good, man.
bro. It's all good.
Listen,
We're just gonna have a conversation right now.
if you listen to the shit we said, on
Yeah,
here, bro,
yeah.
I promise
You have nothing to worry
there's,
about, bro.
there's nothing you can say that's worse than anything me and this guy have said. So you're good
Yeah.
to go, honestly.
Yeah, no, it's because, you know why? It's because people on the internet, every time they hear something or they see something, in their minds, they always like to create a narrative for themselves
Yeah.
without actually knowing what the person's intent or the delivery of the message is. So now, like, I'm really taking everything, like, with a thought. And, you know, the old saying goes, like, think before you say.
Yeah.
And so that's what, like, I've really been telling myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I should probably start thinking. I should probably start thinking about that more often, man. Because I think I say and then I think after. I'm like, holy fuck. But you know what it is? We keep it original. We keep it OG here. That's why this podcast has no edits, no nothing. But let's roll with it. I mean, first things first. Introduce yourself in terms of who you are, what you do. Give us a little background story. We always like to start there.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm Filipino. My parents were born in the Philippines. They actually moved to Mississauga back in 1993, I believe, right before I was born in 94.
Okay.
And so, you know, my birthday's coming up July 9th.
Nice.
Born and raised in Mississauga. I've been not filming, but I've been doing photos for 7 years now.
Crazy.
And it just started as a hobby. I didn't really think too much of it. And I told myself, this is really cool. You know, I get to have a camera and I get to take these photos, and people will say to me, you know, photos last a lifetime. And as a kid, you don't really think of it too much with just anything in general. And so I just got, you know, just doing it for fun whenever I did on vacations.
Yeah.
And then I started to get more serious about a year into it because, like, my brother was the one who influenced me.
Okay.
And I really started getting into it. I really loved it. And that's when I started to take it more seriously. And, you know, growing up, I was really having a good childhood. You know, my parents really taught me well. They taught me, you know, the good values that some people unfortunately aren't able to have, or they don't have to have parents that can, you know, lead them to a good way. And, you know, I'm really fortunate with what I was able to get. We didn't grow up like, you know, rich or poor. We were middle class. So, you know, we didn't have a bad environment. We have really good family. So that really taught me to keep family close.
Yes.
And
amazing.
And so when I started doing photography, you know, I just started hitting up a bunch of photographers, a bunch of, just random people on Instagram and said, hey, like, let's do a photo shoot. And it was doing well for a bit, right? I didn't really, ask to get paid.
Yeah.
So, with anything you start, you want to gain experience. And so
Correct.
that's what I kind of, built off of.
Yeah. Which is huge.
Yeah.
That's what you need to do.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay,
And-
so like when did you first pick up a camera? I mean, your brother influenced you, like
Yeah.
you said, right?
Yeah.
So did something else inspire you to kind of do more with it?
And what were you shooting mainly at the beginning?
So mainly I was just shooting like landscape photos. Like
Nice.
whenever we go to, just travel,
Yeah.
it didn't matter where it was, Niagara Falls or up north or even like Ottawa or Montreal.
Yeah.
I was really into the whole landscape because it's like, these are like what we are surrounding ourselves with, but we don't really get to, take in what we see. We just like go about our day. We just walk by and, with photography, it does really take the time to really learn, or not learn, but really have your senses aware at all times.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't really take in sometimes, like even just looking up and looking up all this, like the architecture, the landscape that you see, like with all the buildings, right? And when I take a photo of those, like people just don't really take it in until they see it on Instagram.
You don't even get to appreciate it really until you see the photo of it.
Yeah,
Right?
or
I
even-
feel like you're probably walking around all the time and thinking like, oh shit, that's a good pic. Oh shit, that's a good pic, right? And
Yeah.
it's kind of everywhere.
And exactly, and like with the downtown area, especially in downtown Toronto, anything that I see, it could turn out to be a good photo, whether it be a portrait or a street photography or buildings with the CN Tower, as most people like to take photos of.
Yeah.
But yeah, it really started with like that landscape photos for me, and then it kind of grew to portraits. It grew to like, what else? I'm trying to think here because there's so many aspects of like,
Like between, and probably so many things that you've done, right? So,
Exactly.
okay, so you start off with this. How long are you doing it until it actually becomes like a business, like a job for you? And
Like you're
and in
making
the
money.
meantime, are you working any jobs? Like, are you?
Yeah, so it's a funny thing you asked that, because I'm sure you know this, but I have a very unique way of where I got to now, because for the first 3 years, 2 years actually, I was just doing it for fun. I didn't really take it seriously, and then I met somebody in high school, and we started like talking occasionally, and a lot of people who watch this probably know what I'm talking about, and eventually became one of the biggest prank channels on YouTube. So I hit him up in like 2016. I said, hey, like, I'm working at Walmart right now. I don't really want to be here, but I'm just making ends meet. And I said to him, whenever I have a free day off, like, let me like take some photos for you guys or film like a video for you guys. And I mean, if you guys don't know, obviously it's no. So I just don't really like to bring it up too much. But in this case, it's different because people kind of don't understand the background story in full length, and they only just like hear like little bits and pieces. And so I just started doing like filming for them. Occasionally, I would take photos. They post it on Instagram, whatever. And then 2017 is when I quit my job and I did it full time for them.
That's
and then
crazy.
That's when I started like do filming. We started traveling around all the U.S. We started going to different parts of Canada, and then eventually we started traveling to Europe in 2019.
Wow.
And so, based off all of that, that's where like my the definition that people think it is success. And I took a lot of it. I took a lot out of it in terms of experience, in terms of filming, editing, photos, for example, and just like understanding that it takes time to really put in the work and make the best quality content. And so taking all of that, I never ended on bad terms with them. People always assume that, oh, like you don't talk to them because you signed an NDA to not talk about this. But it's like, I just chose not to because
Yeah.
there's no reason to. There's no
Yeah.
reason to create more conflict than it needs to be.
Yeah.
For sure.
You know,
I respect that.
Some people do it out of envy. Some people do it out of jealousy, and some people do it out of hate. I don't hate anybody. I never hated anybody, and hate's just a strong word where I just say I just dislike somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what people get the misconception of. Oh, like because you don't, you know, work with them, or because you parted ways.
They think
And
the worst off the
They
bat.
think the worst.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They don't think that good things come out of bad situations.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that people kind of have been asking me for like probably
Yeah.
a year and a half now.
Yeah.
sure.
Just
You
like
know.
what's the scoop, what happened, and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, like, I read online all the time, like, oh, this guy needs to expose them. Like, what is the point? What does it get out of me, out of them, and what
Yeah.
does it get out of
Yeah.
you?
Yeah.
It just gets entertainment.
That's all. Just
Sure.
a kick. Just a kick
Yeah.
out of it.
yeah, exactly.
And I'm sure you probably look at that situation and say, man, like, you know, I'm sort of blessed to be able to have gone from working like at fucking Walmart
Yeah, exactly.
saying like traveling the world, the States, Europe, like what an experience, bro. Right. And no matter how it ended up, you're looking back on that whole situation and saying, no, I took a lot from this. I grew as a person. I grew as probably a photographer, videographer. Like those are crazy, bro. Like that's unreal, right? Like
Yeah.
how many people have ever been in that situation before or will ever get to? Not many, right?
Exactly.
And I think, but I want to circle back because the like that relationship in general, no matter what the outcome was, would have never happened if you didn't take the chance to reach out and say, hey,
Exactly.
let me do this and let me do it for free.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing. And we fucking talk about this all the time, man, where especially with creatives, there's such an ego. It's
Yeah.
like they start off like you're a beginner, you start off with an ego. It's like, bro, you don't just put on a pair of soccer shoes and you're fucking Cristiano Ronaldo all of a sudden. You know what I mean? The same way you don't pick up a camera and you're not a 905 shooter right away, bro. It takes time, right?
Exactly.
So I like that. And I think a lot of people will take value because of, you know, how influential you are in the industry that you're in. And to hear that you went and said, hey, I'm going to just do this for free,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And you're saying for what? It was like however many years you were doing it for and not making $1 at the beginning, right? So
Yeah. It was about a year.
yeah, which is crazy. Like that's, you know, and a year is a long time.
Yeah.
And you know what? Like you're obviously very good at what you do, so you're able to kind of break through that threshold fast. But some people might go 2-3 years of doing it for free.
Yeah.
Or doing shit for free, right?
Yeah.
To get that experience or learn. So and then it's really important. But okay, so all that happens, whatever. You guys break it off, not bad terms. You are where you are. What's the next step? Where do you go from there?
So yeah, it's funny you say that. So after all that happened, I took like a bit of a break off of like social media, just like, you know, just trying to like recover, figure out what I want to do, and also plan ahead because it was towards December. I made a decision like, you know what? Why should I wait till the end of till 2020 to kind of reinvigorate everything I've done? Where do I take the next step? And I said to myself, why should I wait? Like, just do it now.
Yeah.
Like instead of like people planning ahead, like I'm gonna set a time schedule for myself. Like so I'm gonna do this in January. I'm gonna start off the new year as a new me or whatever
Classic, yeah.
things that they
Yeah.
want to tell them,
Yeah.
right? Or like this New Year's resolution. And I don't really believe in that so much in resolutions because it's like when you put yourself in a situation where you want to set a goal for yourself, the goal isn't necessarily what you're trying to achieve, is how you achieve it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because along the way, like the goal is just something that takes you to the next step or
Exactly.
is not necessarily the end goal, but it along the way is what is the most important to me. Because that's how you grow and that's how you,
course.
you know, become a bigger and better person. And then I made a decision after Halloween. It was funny. I went out with like my brother and his friends. It's Halloween 2019. I'm like,
Damn.
Heating
Yeah.
up, yeah. That's a heater. That's a fucking heater.
Yeah.
Dean,
this was
I'm not gonna argue with you there.
it's a heater.
Yeah, it was way before the pandemic started. But then I said to myself, you know, I'm gonna test myself out. I'm gonna go a month without drinking
Yeah.
and smoking because I used to smoke a bit of weed, and like, my parents know this. Like, it's not
Yeah.
like obviously it's legal in Canada
Yeah.
now. But I said to myself, like, it was more just a test,
Yeah.
just to see if I could do it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people tell themselves that you could do this, but then there's no action to it.
Yeah.
And when they do it, they kind of get into the influence, or they kind of get what's the word, encouraged to do it again.
Yeah.
And once you do it, it's just like it's hard to get back out of it.
Yeah.
So after the first month, I'm like, okay, this is cool. Going into December, you know how December is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
of course.
Get the family, you get a couple things
You get a
going,
good
some
time
Christmas
going, bro.
parties.
Especially if you're like a student, you just finished school.
You're ready to go fucking crazy at that point.
Yeah, you're ready to go off.
You're ready to go party,
Yeah.
Christmas, New Year's.
Yeah.
Like you have a full month to yourself with your
This
friends.
is literally the worst time to go sober, really.
Exactly.
It's the
And you
worst
know what's
time
so
for you.
funny? A lot of people are joking like that's the worst like month to do it. Like why would you do it?
It's okay.
And at the same time, I was like, okay, this is more than just a test to me. This is more of now a commitment.
Yeah.
This is more of a lifestyle. And some people don't understand that, you know, being sober is a choice, obviously, but it's also just like a lifestyle, like I said, and it really does test your mental strength, your physical strength, and it does test who you surround yourself with. So basically, long story, I went the entire 2020 without having a single drink, single, you know,
Wow.
puff of weed. Because
Damn.
people like I said, once you get into the habit of having one beer, it leads to more beers, then it leads to alcohol, to liquor, and then from then on, like it's just a cycle.
It's like cold turkey or
we know this
or
thing.
not.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
we
know all
yeah,
about it.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and so then after that, January came along. I decided, okay, I'm gonna do freelance photography. I'm gonna open up my own small business. I'm gonna name it 905 Shooter just because it's a staple to me. It's basically a name that kind of stuck to me.
Yeah.
It represents you as well too.
Exactly,
If you go check out your
represent me.
page.
And yeah, I made a YouTube video basically explaining like what does 905 Shooter mean.
Yeah.
And
Oh, I saw that one. That was
It's-
recent.
Yeah,
That was
that was
recent.
recent. Yeah.
It's so
905,
simple.
baby.
It's so simple.
Mississauga.
Yeah.
It's funny because people are like it's such a simple thing
Yeah.
where I have 905 is my area code.
Yeah. And then whenever you were shooting.
and I'm a photographer. Like
Yeah.
I don't want to put 905 photographer or 905
Yeah.
photography. It's
Yeah.
too long.
Yeah.
So I'm like, shooter is such a sick word where like it's shorter, but it also is creative in a
Yeah.
way,
Yeah.
and it sticks when
Of
people
course.
read that.
Of course.
So I just took them together, put 905 Shooter, and I will take credit though. It wasn't my original idea. I got the idea from this guy whose name is 416 Shooter.
Okay.
Okay.
But
Okay. There we
go.
but
Is he
It's-
still around?
he's still around. I mean, I'm not sure what he's doing,
Yeah. I
but
never
All right,
even
so that
heard
means
of
he's not around.
but I took the inspiration from him,
Yeah.
and I created to my own representation of where I'm from.
Yeah.
Of course.
And people just joke around like all the time, like 905, like that's Hamilton,
Yeah.
that's just everywhere.
Yeah.
Like why is it just Mississauga? It's like,
Yeah.
well, I'm from Mississauga. And so from then on I started doing photography. I started doing a couple jobs with people.
Dope.
And literally 3 weeks after I finished my last job is when like, we got the report. Oh yeah, we have a pandemic now. We have a lockdown.
Yeah, here we go.
Everything is shutting down. You got to quarantine. And so for probably from March to probably July or May, actually, I didn't like really do anything.
Yeah.
I kind of just stood inside. Like I literally just went for a couple walks and didn't really do much. And then the summer came around and things started opening up. I started going to places, started shooting more. But then I made the critical mistake of still not doing anything.
Yeah.
And a lot of people around me telling me like maybe you should start doing this, like start creating content on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram more, right? And I kind of just laughed at it, and I'll admit that I kind of did laugh a bit when people were saying like, oh, you should hop on TikTok, like you should start posting videos on
Yeah.
TikTok, it will help you grow your page. And
Yeah.
like I got the misconception that TikTok is mainly like people who dance or
Yeah,
do
it's for
lip
dancing.
singing. It's for like kid audience, right?
Yeah.
So I was really ignorant in a way where I didn't take a chance to actually use TikTok in the way that it is now. And so it wasn't until January of this year when I started to go full commitment of posting on TikTok, on Reels, on Instagram, and then posting that I posted on YouTube starting February 9th was the first upload that I officially made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I saw the content too. Sorry to cut you
no,
off,
no,
but
no.
there's a lot of like value in them, right? You're kind of using it as an education tool too. I saw some of the reels and even the YouTube, right? You're kind of trying to teach people based on your
Exactly.
experience, right? So what made you want to actually educate people instead of just show off your work, which is obviously a common thing to do?
Yeah, so It's a good question.
Yeah.
So it was more just taking what I learned for the last 6 years at that point, 7 now, but just really help people, because people tell me all the time on Instagram or even on TikTok now, they're like, I really like your content, like you've inspired me to become a photographer. Amazing. Like, how do you, like, what kind of camera do you use? What kind of settings do you use? Like, how do you take this photo? How do you edit this photo? And then, you know, I started to really take it more seriously, where maybe like I could use my influence for positivity now.
There you go.
In a way, because I just want to help educate people in terms of, you know, photography can become a job. It could become a career.
Yeah.
And it's a good way to kind of keep yourself busy and focused on just living a happier life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And a lot of people kind of don't understand that it's really difficult, especially when you're a quote-unquote public figure or influencer or social media, whatever the label is.
Yeah.
It's very difficult than living a regular, normal life that nobody knows who you are. Whether you have a blue check, you know, whether you have like 10,000 followers or not, like people don't care about you really.
Yeah.
And I mean,
facts, straight facts.
Super
it's
facts,
true.
bro.
Like, people don't care that you have 10,000 followers, but like you don't post content and nobody knows who you are.
Yeah.
And, you know, so then I wanted to really use my influence that I could possibly gravitate towards, and just educate younger people to really, like, you know, whether it be life quotes or mental health, you know, advice. I love to share that, because it really, I really do want to at least help one person who reads my stories and be like, oh, that really makes sense to them.
Yeah.
It really does change their outlook on life, you know? And that's my goal, is just to help people live a more happier lifestyle or happier life, and not really focus themselves too much on social media and use it as a way to kind of sort of brainwash them into believing that this is what you should do to live a happier life.
Yeah.
And so what has the, like, okay, what has the feedback been? And I'm curious, obviously, because you've had some followers from your earlier days who might know you in a different light. What has the feedback been from those type of people as well? I'm curious.
Yeah, it's been half and half.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's going to be people who are, you know, fans from before.
Yeah.
They're always going to wonder or ask questions or, you know, joke around with my past, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, I've accepted it.
Yeah.
The biggest issue is that people don't accept what they've done, what the mistakes have been, and I just learned to just accept it, because that's the past now. And so if you judge me on my past, you're just living, you're just holding yourself back from actually opening up your mind to seeing what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
Because if people live in the past too much, then you're really holding yourself back on life.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so that's
It's
what I want to do.
always, that's why.
Yeah, and I'm changing every day. Like, not even just last year, for example. People say, oh, I changed since last year.
Yeah.
I won't even say I changed from this year.
Yeah.
From the beginning of the year to now, like, a lot of things have changed in terms of what I've been doing. And to circle back to the point, a lot of people have been like giving positive feedback, like, oh, I really love your content. I really love what you do photography, what you do with YouTube. I really love that you're helping inspire people to become a better person, or help people do photography, and teach them, you know, different things that they may have not known of. You know?
Once you're getting that feedback, you're like, this is the right thing to do, obviously. So if you can inspire, even like you said, one person, but I'm sure you're going to inspire hundreds, if anything, right? So in terms of the content, we obviously talk a lot about content here, but how do you prepare for your content? Do you have anything special that you do? How do you create? I mean, you don't have to give me the recipe here, but when you're creating reels, because creating content could be a lot of work, and I know that you're consistent with it too, with posting, and you're on a bunch of platforms as well, right?
Yeah.
So not just Instagram. What do you do to kind of prepare for content? Do you organize content ahead of time? I know you said you don't like to prepare too much, but how are you managing that?
Yeah, it's a great question, because I was actually going to get into that.
Yeah.
So I basically plan out, I'm going to upload 2 times a week on YouTube. I'm going to post, I'm going to do my best. I don't say try anymore, because trying is not good enough. I'm going to post, I'm going to do my best to post on either Tuesday, and if I can't, I'll post on Wednesday. Then I'm going to plan ahead to film the next day, that after I've done editing. Then I'm going to film again for another YouTube video for Friday or Saturday, just obviously depending on how much time management I have. So, you know, I film all of that stuff, put it into a timeline on my laptop, and then I edit it and upload to YouTube. Cool. That's the easy. Yeah. That's like the easiest part.
Yeah.
In terms of content creation, easiest part is creating a YouTube video. Then what I do is I take all of that small like montages, or even now little clips of me like vlogging a bit, which I post now to TikTok as, you know, consistent content, and then I post to Reels occasionally. It's just like I don't want to spam to people. I don't want to spam my Reels too much with like the same type of content. I like to space it out a bit, give maybe once a day, twice a week. Some people say 3 times a week. And then after that, I cut down all these clips and I just save it as like individual clips. I have it in my drafts. So then when I'm ready, I just post it right away. I don't even have to like go through the whole process of, you know, I'm going to take the clip, then add the music, and then add
everything ready to go.
I try to plan it out. So I have everything already like on my I don't know if the camera picked this up, but basically I have all of it. Like if you guys could see.
Oh, it's all in the drafts ready.
Yeah, the drafts, okay.
You can show the camera too.
Yeah. The camera,
so basically, I have all of my clips here, and then in the little small here, in the first top left is like I have 13 drafts already. Okay. So I have everything's prepared.
And those are edited as well, ready to go.
Yeah, those are all edited. Those are all prepared, and then as soon as I just click on it, and then I'm just ready to post whatever I want. And I try to space it out in terms of what the moment was. Like, let's say I was like a spot that I'm shooting. I don't like to put the same thing together unless it's really cool. And then after that, I just continue with it. It's a cycle for me. I just take all my YouTube videos and just put it onto all my other platforms.
And then how has vlogging been? Because I know that's obviously a newer thing for you.
Yeah,
and you came in hot. We were not expecting. I was like, damn, I might have a booger in my nose. Like, I don't even know what was good, but I'm looking around like, shit, does my hair look good? I'm wearing a hat.
Yeah, that's funny because like I started my channel with just trying to do more educational photography stuff, like tutorials either on Final Cut, Photoshop, or Lightroom. And those are the programs I use to edit or create a thumbnail for YouTube, for example. And people were like, oh, this is cool, but like it's not going to go far. And I'm like, that makes a bit of sense. Like, it's not going to go too much unless I do something different. And so then people are like, you should start vlogging a bit more. And so then I decided, you know what, it's going to create more content instead of just limiting myself to like figuring out at home, okay, like I have to upload this tomorrow. What do I do though? I'm stuck in my house. I can't really, create content that is relatable or even like fun or entertaining. So now it's like, you know what, maybe I should start vlogging a bit more, because I see other people, when they're stagnant with what they're doing and it goes nowhere for them, then you gotta reinvent yourself and you got to really figure out what works for you guys. And for me too. I feel
like by adding the vlogging into the tutorials and the kind of educational content, you've sort of added like a personality now. Right? And that's something that people can like look and kind of, we like to say, fall in love with almost. Like, cool, this guy's teaching me this and that, but this is actually who he is as a person. And by the way you talk, the way you say things, people can kind of get a better understanding and almost connect more.
Find you more relatable as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's something that I've taken with me, where if you just vlog things and you don't really have something to talk about,
purpose, pretty much.
A purpose, right? And you're just scrambling to figure out, what do I talk about now? What do I say next, right? If you have no idea or any knowledge of what you're gonna present to these people who are watching on your YouTube video, then you're just going to be confusing them, and they're going to see it right away that this person has no idea what they're talking about.
What value am I going to get from this person?
Exactly.
And that comes with being genuine too. I think, like, if you're making that content, you have to be genuine about it, right? You have to at least know what you're talking about, number one, right? But if you have experience in it, like you said, like your experience is in photography, right? So people already trust you enough to talk about that and give them value on that, right? So I think that comes a lot when people don't know what they're talking about, like actually,
Yeah.
seriously, right? Or it could be that they're camera shy, whatever, but you should always just be genuine. I think that's when the real stuff comes out, right? And no one can really tell you right from wrong when you're just talking from experience.
Yeah, and to Anthony's point, you're right though. Like people want to know your personality more, and that's what
100%.
I'm really doing my best to do. Is like, you know, be more open with myself.
Yeah.
I'm learning to still love myself more than people loving me.
Yeah.
Because it starts with you first, and
Yes,
so
sir.
I try not to do too much in terms of changing who I am, and that's a lot of things I used to do back in my day where I tried too much to be different or not be who I was, and learning and doing it because I want to impress other people or do it as an image to be accepted by other people, right?
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing that people kind of consume themselves as, where they want acceptance through the internet or they want acceptance through their peers.
Yeah.
You have to first accept who you are first before you could accept others and have the same mutual respect,
Of course.
given back to them.
It's funny because you actually said something before the cameras are on about like how vlogging you hate hearing yourself, and that's something that actually, when we started this thing, I was in the same situation. I've always fucking hated how I sounded. I was like, oh my god, what's wrong with my voice, bro? Why do I sound like this? I sound fucking horrible. But that's something that even myself, for me too, right? We started doing these podcasts and whatnot. I'm trying to hear myself and watch back on these episodes, and I'm like, you know what? Like, who gives a fuck? To be honest, now, and it just became like a who gives a fuck thing, and then it ended up turning into me actually enjoying listening to myself on these podcasts
no one's really
after.
there saying like listening and saying, "Oh, Anthony sounds weird." Like that's
No,
all
I know,
in your
but
own
it's a
head.
common thing that I think a lot of people are like,
overthinking.
fuck. You know, when they hear themselves back, they're like, I hate how I sound.
The problem is
And
when
I'm
you're
like,
just doing everything to kind of, like you said, be accepted, please others. The moment you get some sort of bad feedback, you're gonna crumble because you don't even like yourself to begin with. At that point, you're just trying to do things just to please others.
Yeah.
So the moment someone comes at you with something, even if it's like, "Yo, you suck," you're gonna be like, "Yo, I fucking suck, bro."
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, yeah,
Seriously, right?
straight
So
up.
that's a big thing with loving. You have to love yourself, respect yourself before you put yourself out there, because there's gonna be people all the time, no matter what you put out there.
Yeah.
People that don't agree, people that agree, right? So, leading me to my next point, actually, talking about influence. You obviously have a lot of influence, but you like to use your voice to express even social matters.
Exactly,
Right?
yeah.
And I saw that on your page as well, right? So I like that a lot. I think that I think anyone with any sort of platform should be speaking their mind and putting their opinion out there, especially on matters like that. So what made you kind of want to speak about that, and were you confident in doing so?
You know, that's actually something that's very interesting leading into this, because it's a very sensitive topic that people don't really like to talk about.
Of course.
And it really hits me a lot, because this is the first time, and I'm telling you this, first time ever that I'm saying this online or for YouTube in general, but people don't know that I used to be bullied back in high school. Like, I used to be that kid where people just took as a joke.
Yeah.
They didn't take them seriously. They would
Alienate you.
alienate, that's the word, alienate me from being in social gatherings. Like, I remembered when I was, what year was this? Because this was a long time. This was in elementary school. And back then, when you're a kid that's like 10 to 13 years old, you don't know what you're saying, what you're doing,
Yeah.
how it affects the person, because you're just a kid. Like, you're like a little sponge. You're just still learning.
Yeah. You're just saying shit as it comes to your brain.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. And so what I experienced was, like, you know, even the little things, like when I was walking home from school, I would think to myself, okay, these people are my friends. Like, I see them all the time at school. I'm with them after school. Actually, no, I lied. I wasn't even with them after school. I would walk with them, and we all live in the same area, in the same neighborhood. And I remembered I would be walking with them, and all of a sudden they would just start to like distance themselves from me, and they would all be in the one group together, and I'm just by myself here. And I'm like, I'm thinking to myself as a kid, like, what did I do wrong?
Yeah.
Like, is it my fault? And now I look back, it's like, it's not my fault. It's just them being who they are and showing me what kind of person they are. And so that was like the beginning of it. People would just kind of like laugh at me, like they would make jokes at me. And it got to the point where like people started even making like homophobic jokes.
Yeah.
Where like people would think like, oh, this person's gay.
Yeah.
And, you know, they would call me the F word. And obviously I can't say it now because it's, you know, this is a new day and age where, you know, even saying that, even as a reference, people kind of would take it back,
course.
right?
Yeah.
And so people would call me that. They would call me like a bunch of words like that you would not want to.
Yeah.
You want to be called, yeah.
Can't even say that anymore just because of how sensitive and how times are changing. And this was in a day where people were like didn't give a shit what they said.
Yeah.
And so
now we got phone cameras. That's why.
Exactly. And this was before phone cameras were using things. This was before Snapchat and like all these platforms existed. And so people were making jokes like, oh, you're in love with my teacher. I was like grade 7. I was like 12 years old. They're like, you're in love with this teacher. You're gay. You are in love and in a relationship with one of my classmates. And I'm like, this is straight up bullying. This is like, you know, if this was like, this could lead to suicide. This could really kill somebody. And as a kid, they don't know this. Obviously, nobody knows what the after effects of it, what it does to somebody psychologically, mentally. It makes them think that, am I gay?
Yeah.
You know, and some people not joke about it, but they kind of question themselves of their sexuality sometimes. Like, am I gay? Am I homophobic? Or am I a homophobe? No, sorry, not homo. That's the wrong term. Homosexual.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
You had me there. Yeah.
Sorry, guys. I didn't mean to say that. And yeah, it just kept going on. And then I eventually said like, okay, I'm gonna have to go to the principal. And I did. And literally, they didn't really do anything. Yeah. All they did was suspend him for like maybe 2 days.
And then he's back at it the next week.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh.
Oh, even worse. Probably was worse then.
It was even worse because I was in the principal's office. And I'm like, this is the situation. This is what they've been doing for probably months now.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, we'll deal with it. Give them a 3-day suspension and they're back in class. And not only that, they're like, oh yeah, we're going to have individual talks with these certain group of people. I'm not going to name names, obviously, but then they're just going to keep going on. And they did. Towards the end of the school year into grade 8, leading into graduation year, still continue doing it. Like, they would not stop, because it's like, just because a teacher tells you or principal tells you to stop doesn't necessarily mean they should stop.
Yeah.
And kids are more savage at that age too. I feel like in elementary school, elementary school, you're a fucking savage. Like, you know what I mean? And especially at that time, like you're saying, where, you know, there wasn't the sensitivity stuff and whatnot, and certain, like, bro, people were going fucking crazy. I know my elementary school, people were going fucking nuts. Like, it was a free for all. So,
exactly.
Yeah. No, I feel you on that one, 100%.
Yeah. And so, going into grade 8 now. This is like the last year of elementary school. I'm like, okay, finally, maybe this is going to be the year that it changes. Still the same thing happened. People would bully me. They would make fun of me. They would isolate me. They wouldn't like really even want to see me after school. And it was really confusing. And there would be a few people here and there that actually would be a friend and actually want to talk to me. And, you know, it's very now, that's what kind of leads into like me today, is because of my past. That's how it does. Your past does somewhat transform you into who you become as an adult. And so then going into grade 9 now, this is when high school is starting. Different time, people are getting even more older. They start to know things more, but then they still have the same mentality. And I won't get into too much detail, but that's when things start to really get bad. And it's going to get a bit dark here, guys, because it's it gets personal here. But only my family knows this, and a couple people at the time know this. Like, not even my cousins know this. My aunts, uncles, they're probably going to see this now. They're probably going to see this now because it's on YouTube. I'm going to share this after. But there was, I don't remember the incident that happened. It was a lot of bullying still going grade 9 and 10, and I was 14 years old. And I remembered I was in my brother's room. He had an extension cord, and it's gonna get deep, sorry. He had an extension cord, and I remembered I wrapped it around my neck.
Wow.
It's gonna get deep.
Damn. Hey, man. Spit it. This is the platform to do it, man.
See where it is, bro.
Because this is the first time I'm ever saying it, so it's like, it's very difficult to kind of keep my emotions together.
Of course.
But I'm gonna do my best. I wrapped it around my neck, and we have a little lamp at the on your ceiling, not like the big spinning fans.
Yeah.
It's a little like lamp with a little shade on it.
Yeah.
I remembered I tried wrapping around the lampshade, and I had it around my neck, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put a chair right here on his bed, and I'm gonna let it go.
Yeah.
As I'm about to do it, my mom walks into the room. She's like, what are you doing?
Damn.
Wow.
I'm like, I want to kill myself. It's like, why? It's because like the things that happened at school is like things I never said to them or even wanted to bring up, because it's like, it's very personal to me. As a kid, you don't really want to express your feelings or what you're going through to your parents, because you sometimes don't think your parents as your friend.
Yeah.
You just think them as a parent who's just there, who birthed you and who raised you.
Yeah.
And so when you're a kid, you don't really, you can't really talk to them as a person sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's what I learned, that you have to really value your parents, because that's who you're going to be, living the rest of your life with. And you can't take that away from you. And so I had to go to therapy for that. You're like, what's the problems? Like, talk it out. And therapy wasn't really something that I really was wanting to do, because it's like, what's this person going to do to help me?
There's a stigma behind it.
Exactly. And I'm not against therapy. Therapy, it works in many ways for different people. It doesn't work for everybody. It didn't work out for me that well.
Yeah.
And therapy was just like, it's cool, but what can I get out of this?
Mm-hmm.
What's this person going to do for me?
Yeah.
And then, it kept continuing. And I think it was, my parents weren't home. I think I wanted to do it a second time. I think I was 15, maybe 16 at this time. And I was in my room, and I have a little attic in my room. And there's like a little big opening, like a box.
Yeah.
So like a square. And I guess you have to push it in, because I'd never actually been in my attic.
Yeah.
And it's like, I guess you have to push it in. And so there's like a little like heavy block that's blocking it. And I did the same thing. I would wrap it around my neck, and I would put it on inside of it so that it holds. And right before I was doing it, I was thinking to myself, like, should I do this or should I not? And I really contemplated, because it's like, a lot of people say you have a lot of life to live, and it's somewhat true.
Yeah.
But if this is my time, this is my time. Like, you can't really regret it at that point if you choose to do it. And like I said, we all have choices in life. We all choose to give a fuck about something. And you always have to choose whether it's life or death for you. Sometimes you choose, sometimes you don't. You never know. We all don't know when death is going to happen. And so that's what really affected me as a teenager going into my like adult life. And that's what psychologically it makes me feel different, because it's like, am I going to experience the same thing as I did as a kid than what I would be as an adult? And it's traumatic for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And that's why I go back to the point of why I'm such an advocate for cyberbullying, for bullying, for, mental and psychological abuse and harassment, because that's what I've gone through, and I want to share it with other people to let them know that obviously you're not the only person in this world. And it's so cliche to say that, but it's true.
No, it's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
So how do you bounce back from that? Like what is that like as a person, right? Because that's fuck, bro. That's deep, dude. Like that's fucking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're talking about your life here. We're not talking about hurting yourself or like it's like you said, it's life or death. So how do you? And I'm curious for myself. How do you bounce back from that? Because I've never been in that situation or have I've felt things, but never that deep. So. Coming out of it, obviously you look at it and you say, cool, like, you didn't go through with it, obviously for your own reasons, whatever the cases were. You're here now, thank God. You know what I mean? We're happy you're here. And so what does that look like, bouncing back?
It makes me now really decide what I want to do, because I decided to stay alive because I had a purpose. And some people don't get to know what their purpose is until they decide they want to see it through to the end. And so another reason why is because of this book. Actually, I brought it along with me. If you guys,
I saw you put that out. I'm curious.
If you guys haven't seen this book before,
Huge book, dude.
it's called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson. When I say, and this is the first time I'm saying this in probably a long time, where I say a book has actually changed my entire life, from relationships to life to, you know, your mental and your physical strength to just everything in general, your values, accepting your faults, your mistakes, your responsibilities. It teaches you so many different things that not nobody, but little few people have actually told you in your life, other than your parents and your friends. This book tells you face to face the reality of it. And that's what kind of took me through this year, is like this book really did, you know, teach me what I should do now to move forward and make change in my life. And ever since then, I started writing this in my journal. Actually, in this journal, I've been writing every single day. Every single day I've been writing what my thoughts are, what I learned from the book, you know, what I did today, what I'm feeling, just everything in general. And you should definitely, if anyone's watching this, definitely start writing in a journal or a book, because you look back on the dates and you say, wow, like this happened, this is what I was thinking, this is who I was, I remember this day, what a terrible person I was that day, you know? And it really does take you back a second and be like, that's really who I was even a year ago or 6 months ago.
It's crazy the change you can see when you're documenting it like that. Yeah.
And another thing is that I've learned to just, it goes back to the beginning, where I don't want to use my past as an excuse anymore. I just have to keep moving forward, forgive people for what they've done, but obviously don't forget what they done, you know? And that's a thing where sometimes we forget that the past is a learning lesson. The present and the future is now your own experience and your own path to creating new experiences as well, you know, because your past is just nothing now at that point, right? You can't do anything to change your past. All you could change now is your present and your future. And some people just kind of are too nostalgic. They kind of hold on to the past too long, where it holds themselves back from actually living life more.
And just growing too.
And being able to have a healthier lifestyle. Because when people hold on to things for too long, it consumes them. It makes them believe that this is what is going to happen again. If, you know?
Well, and that's why, like, see, the term you said, forgive, don't forget. Some people might actually take that in the wrong way.
Okay.
I agree with it, but some people, you know, it's a thing of saying, I forgave that person, or I forgave, you know, about this situation, but I'm not forgetting it. But when it's what part of it are you not forgetting? Right? Because if you're not forgetting it to take it and learn a lesson moving forward, that's amazing. But some people just kind of say, they forgave, but they're, you know what I mean? They're still hurt by it.
Okay.
And I think that's the hardest part, right? I think people, they have trouble truly forgiving someone or a group of people or whatever in a certain situation. So it's important. And I do agree with that. Some people, they get caught up, and then it comes back to the whole nostalgic thing, right? Looking back at your past and saying, you know, this happened to me, that happened to me, it's going to happen again. You know, I'm in a negative space. You got to keep moving forward. You got to grow, right? So I respect that about you, because I think you're in a different situation now, a way different situation. It looks like you from when I've been following you way back in the day. It looks like they're seeing so much transformation, and you came in here super cool, calm, collected. You know what I mean, on the mic saying your thing, and so obviously, you know, I can see the growth, and it's there. So, dude,
thank you.
I wanted to go into the content side again. And now that you have this experience, is this something that you're looking to actually tell people about and put them in maybe in a different perspective, or make them feel a little bit more comfortable if they're going through the same thing, right? Because you might have seen the feedback from you putting photography tips up, stuff like that, but this is another level of that, right? So can we plan to see any content surrounding this? You speaking about your experiences with mental health and everything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing it right now.
Yeah.
You know?
First time though.
So I want to know, is this something that we can expect? Jumping back, it is something that speaks a lot about you, right? Which is what you wanted.
Yeah, it depends. I feel like if it was on my channel, it would have to, because that would have to be a whole video, I think, and I don't want to like take that away from all the other stuff like vlogging and, you know, content creation. So I feel like that would be more so for like podcasts like this, for example, or other people's channels where I could speak my mind freely on their platform to give their audience some sort of you know, understanding who I am. And if they know who I am, if they don't know who I am, now you get to know who I am. Yeah. And even for this, like, you know, people watching this, you know, this is the first time they're probably hearing this. They probably never knew about this. And that's like the thing, like people don't sometimes realize I'm still a human being at the end of the day.
Well, that goes back to the whole influencer thing, right? People just look at you like you're a fucking influencer and don't realize that you go home and go to sleep and eat and sit with your family and do all the regular things, right? But I do want to say, I respect you for speaking out, you know, to whatever extent. Maybe you're getting a little more intimate here, but I respect that you have a platform, and I respect that you speak about things that you feel are important to you and resonate with you, right? Because that's something that we're losing a lot of today. You know, I feel like we see a lot of people coming out and speaking their mind about certain things, certain issues, whatever the case is. But at the same time, there are people who, you know, they feel like just because they may have 500 followers or just because they have 1,000 followers, that that's not a big enough platform to speak, you know, about issues or speak about things that they truly believe in. I'm a strong advocate for speak your mind. Some people are gonna like what you say. Some people are not gonna like what you say. But that's kind of you know, that's the world we live in.
It's a risk you take.
It's a risk you take, and people are scared to do that nowadays. Obviously, because there are so many things online where cancel culture, this, that, whatever. I think no opinion is a bad opinion. I may not agree with some opinions, but we're living in a world where it's scary because you don't know if your opinion or your experiences or what you want to say might be looked at negatively or whatnot. But we have to continue to speak to you know, as humans, to speak our minds and truly give our true opinion on things, because that's what's gotten us this far. You know, we've had all this innovation in the world and growth in humanity throughout the years, because people came out and spoke their minds, and, you know, some people took some of what they said and applied it in a certain way, and we've been able to push forward like that, right? Just as humans as a whole. So, you know, continue to keep doing that, because I think that's something that we're kind of in a sticky situation with when it comes to the year 2021 now. Yeah. So yeah, keep it up, man. Honestly, keep that up, because that's very important.
Thank you. Yeah, and to your point, Ernesto, like when it comes back to the content creation, that's the one thing I kind of want to bring up as well, kind of segueing into another point, is that I do want to use my influence for the good. And honestly, people get so worked up about themselves, like, oh, I need to be gaining followers, I need to like be doing this to get this amount of views. I want to get verified on Instagram, I want to get verified on YouTube, TikTok, whatever platform, Facebook, right? For me, I just don't care. Let's just put it that way. It's simple. I like to keep things simple. I don't care. If it happens, it happens. Like, I mean, for you guys, you guys got verified, but do you guys really care that much?
I mean, not really. At the beginning, it was a little amped. So
it's always
don't lie. You were
He's calling me out. No.
He's calling me out.
It truly makes not that much of a difference in the long run.
You're
right?
about to say no difference, and then you said not that much difference.
Yeah, because I can see the benefits of it. I do, but at the same time, you know, it comes back to, again, what are your values?
Exactly.
What do you value in life, right? And so some people may value it more than others. The same way some people may value 1,000 followers compared to 10,000. Some people just don't give a fuck.
Exactly, and then that's the thing. Like I say, I don't curse too much now, but you have to choose what you give a fuck about.
Yeah, facts.
You know?
Yeah, you
And
can choose.
I choose not to care because people tell me, oh, you should start caring more. I remember I heard this back in the day, maybe 3 years ago now.
Yeah.
You should start caring more about your followers. You should start caring more about the views, about the content you create. Content is obviously important, but those little things in between in terms of content creation doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
I want to do it if it makes me happy, if it does help make other people happy what they're seeing, and not just doing it just for entertainment purposes where they're just doing it for the money.
Of course.
And for me, it's just funny. I'm losing followers on Instagram every single day.
Wow.
And I don't care.
Yeah.
Why? Because it doesn't matter to me. I'm just filtering out all the people that don't care
There you
about
go.
me.
Let's go.
There you go. Cream of the crop.
That's a huge reel. We're gonna have to cut that one up. Let's
Cream of the
go.
crop.
That's a huge one.
No, it's
facts,
true.
though.
It's facts, though, man.
And that comes down to just not giving a fuck. You're living for yourself now. You're making decisions based on what you like and what you want and what you want to show the world. And it's about you now. You finally, it sounds like you put yourself first, and you're following second. And that following may go from, you're at a lot of followers, like 200 and something.
Yeah.
And I feel like if I told you tomorrow it drops to 100, you just wouldn't give a fuck.
No, even if I lost 100,000 followers in a year, I don't care.
Yeah.
Because then, like I said, it really does go back to me putting out the content for the people that actually care about what I do and actually following me for me as a person. And to your point, and so it's true. Not everyone's gonna like you.
Yeah.
People may like you. People may appreciate what you're doing for your platform, for your brand, and what you're doing for the world and for social media, for example. But you're not going to please everybody.
Of course.
There's always going to be people that doubt you, that don't like you because of who you are, what you do. A lot of times I don't take it personally, and I don't take a lot of things personally when I see hate comments, and I get that every single day for the last year and a half. Every single day.
Well, same guy or what?
Not the same
We'll
guy.
punch him out, eh?
Yeah, he's
No,
done.
it's not the same. It's not the same person. But I would say on almost every single photo, video, live stream that I did for the last year and a half, I see the same comments, same negativity, and it's like
They're still there though.
they're still there. I don't. And the thing is, I don't take it personally because it's like I don't know who these people are.
Of course.
I'm never gonna meet them, and I hear a lot too. And it's true. People who say things online that say hurtful things to anyone in this room, it doesn't matter because they're not going to say it to you in person because there's consequences for it. When you say things on social media, nobody's going to know who you are. They're not going to report you. They could report
What's
your,
the worst that can happen? You
like-
just get that account deleted.
Yeah, they get account deleted, they get suspended, but there's no repercussions for their actions. Like there should, I'm sure there's going to be something in the future where if somebody is cyberbullying or they're bullying somebody or harassing somebody online and they are the reason for somebody dying online, committing suicide on a live, or being in the news that this person committed suicide or they did this, they should be held accountable for their actions, their words, and what they did to make that person commit suicide.
Yeah,
Right?
facts.
I want to ask you a question. Do you think there's enough tools right now on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, those kind of platforms to deal with that kind of bullying that you may or may not be experiencing as a large creator?
Simple question? No.
Yeah.
Because we're living in a time where things are like, for example, social media has only been around for 15 years, give or take.
True.
20 years if you're in the early days of Facebook and YouTube.
MySpace and that one too,
MySpace and
MySpace. Like YouTube's only been around for 16 years now, right?
Yeah.
And so with anything in life, it takes years to build a sustainable system.
Ecosystem,
Yes.
Yeah.
It takes a long time to create, like, for example, Tesla. I looked it up on Google. It took 20 years for Tesla to become where it is today. It took 20 years for Elon Musk to become who he is today. It doesn't happen within 5 years, 10 years of social media growing and actually having social media police, if you want to call it that.
Sure.
IG
Yeah.
police, I was gonna say, yeah.
Like, and so that's.
But I like what you said there though, that people, it's so easy to talk shit online
Exactly.
because there's no repercussions, and those same people would never,
Ever.
ever, a million gajillion times, ever say that to you in person, because there's repercussions.
Yeah, and also too, if they ever were to say it in person, that takes a lot of balls, and they have a lot of confidence in themselves to understand what they're getting themselves into.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of people who do that are scared of what is going to happen next, right? And that's why you shouldn't live life in fear, because when you live life in fear, then you're taking away your own opportunity of living life to the fullest. And in this book, it talks about the last chapter. The one topic that not many people would like to talk about or even mention or even get in discussion with, and that's death.
Yeah.
Right? My brother has a tattoo on his arm that says, "Everybody must die."
It's facts.
Facts.
Right?
Facts.
And in this book, I don't want to give too much away, because obviously you should read the book, and the author's gonna get mad if I expose too much of his book.
Yeah.
But basically, he was saying, when you live life in fear of death, you're, like I said, you're holding yourself back from living life to the fullest. We all have to die eventually. We just don't know when. We don't know how. You know, we obviously imagine want to die in the most peaceful way, dying in your sleep, for example. But until that day comes, you have to live life until you know that this is my last day on earth. Because when you hold yourself back from always fearing death, you're not going to experience the things that you've always wanted to do. You're not going to travel the world, go skydiving, or take that chance that, okay, this could risk my life, but it was worth it.
Yeah.
And I say this all the time, I'd rather die broke doing what I love to do than being rich and unhappy. And
Yes,
it's such an easy quote to people, like to hear and be like, oh, like, what is he saying? Like, I want to be rich.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? That's coming from someone who isn't doing what they love to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because anybody who actually wakes up every day and go and puts himself in an environment where they're enjoying themselves would never disagree with that statement. Would never.
Yeah.
So, no, it's fucking true.
Yeah.
It's fucking
For
true.
example, some people live 30 years doing like an office job or being a lawyer or whatever 9-to-5 type of job they do. In other people's perspectives, it's boring to them because they don't love what they're doing. Or they don't love what they're doing. If the person is doing it for 30 years, but waking up every single day happy and grateful for what they're doing,
Blessed.
and they love doing it, who is it to them to judge their own happiness and their own choices in life that got them to this point? Because the first thing you should do is worry about yourself.
Jeez.
Worry about your damn self.
Worry about your damn self.
Exactly.
It's true.
And that's a lot of things that people forget, is worrying about yourself first, putting yourself first before other people. And that's not disrespect to you guys. I'm not going to say, oh, just because I met these guys today, I don't respect them. I don't like them. That's not the case. The case is I'm putting myself first before I could put myself to you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Because my own self-worth and my own self-happiness, it will reflect to the people around me.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's energy.
Exactly.
What do they do on the planes? They always tell you put your mask on before you put your partner's mask on, right? They always say put your own mask on first, then you can help everybody else.
It's true.
Yeah.
No, but it's true. You can do more. You can do more for society when you are, happy with yourself.
Yeah.
Like you've kind of put yourself in a situation where you're happy with where you're at. You're actually worth more to society after than if you were to neglect your personal needs and to just try and focus on everyone else first. Some people look at that and they say, yeah, they look at it selfishly. Like I've been someone since a young age. I've always said this around my family. Everyone was always like, oh, that's the selfish guy. I was a selfish guy in the room because I was always like, well, I'm putting my happiness first, and then I'll focus on you guys after. And exactly, it's not in a way to say, oh, that's disrespectful, I don't care about these people. It's like, bro, when I'm at my best version of myself, I'll actually do more for you. Mm-hmm. Like I can offer you more, and I think that's something now that I think slowly people are starting to realize. And I think you also realize with age too, because you look back, you're like, fuck, I was never putting myself first. I'm going to try and do that now. That's a really tough lesson for people to learn, right? But not selfishly, put yourself first, put your happiness first, and you actually will offer more to the world that way.
Yeah.
So, obviously it seems like you're doing that now. And I have a question for you.
Yeah.
We ask everybody on the podcast. You know the name of the podcast. You know what it is already.
Money buys happiness.
Yes, sir. We had the MBH podcast, Money Buys Happiness. The way I like to ask the question is, do you think it buys happiness? The way I ask the question is, what do you think of when you hear that statement?
You know what's funny? Okay. And this is so crazy because this is how the universe works, okay? Last night, I barely slept because, one, I was editing a video on YouTube. But then also, I was watching The Wolf of Wall Street.
Best fucking movie.
So,
okay.
But it wasn't a coincidence where, like, okay, I'm going on this podcast. I want to watch this to be reminiscent of, like, what I'm taking from that movie and applying it to this podcast. It wasn't the case. I've been wanting to watch this movie for a long time again. And I was sitting at home, I'm watching this movie. And to your point, money buys happiness to a certain extent. It doesn't define your happiness. Money should never define somebody's happiness or self-worth or success. Because if you guys watched the movie, I'm sure some people who've, watching this don't know. And if you do know, you know the case of Jordan Belfort.
Yeah.
Of course.
The Wolf of Wall Street. Real life situation. This happened in the late 80s and early 90s where social media was never a thing. The difference with his story and what's happening today are this. Nobody got to see it.
Wow.
Nobody got to see what he was doing. Nobody got to listen or meet him in person and share it to the world what he was saying that may or may not have got him killed.
Yeah.
And some people probably like keep it to their grave of the things he did, said, done to these people. And that's the difference. Like for him, all he cared about was money. All he cared about was being at the top of Wall Street, being the most successful businessman or stockbroker that he could possibly be in New York. He didn't give a shit who he hurt, who he had to steal money from. All he cared about at that point was being the richest, most successful person in the world and being known for that, okay? And so with social media nowadays and the internet and influencers ties into the Wolf of Wall Street in a certain extent, okay? It doesn't obviously apply to everybody. But for me, I don't look at money as something that makes me the most happiest. Success isn't defined with what you do, but how you do it.
True.
And so when people define your success based on what you did, that shouldn't matter, because the success that you are doing to help other people and help yourself is more important to me than having a status of saying, oh, you have 1 million followers, you have this X amount of money, you have everybody in the world knowing who you are, taking photos of you, being on websites or articles, whether it be negative or positive, right? I don't care about that, because if it happens, it happens. I don't necessarily chase anymore for success, and I don't let other people's definition of success define who I think, or define me to what I think success is. Because everybody has a different way of defining success.
Yeah.
Everybody has a different way of defining happiness. And everybody defines, their own way of what they love to do.
And what happiness is to them.
Exactly.
Which is why we love asking the question. I mean, that was a great answer. And I think that's why we ask it, because every person that sits across from us has a different answer. There's some similarities, but I like that. I like what you said, and I think that some people should try to apply it more and figure out what their definition of happiness is, figure out what's going to help them, move more to that direction, and focus on that. And a lot of the times, those answers are they're inside you. I think we all have the answers. It's always inside us.
The funny thing is, we sometimes don't have all the answers.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I had this quote from Mark Manson, the author. He says, when you tell yourself that I don't know the exact quote, don't quote me on this, okay? But it goes somewhere along the line of, when you think that you're right, that means you're done learning.
Yeah.
I have to. Okay.
You know what? I know which one you're talking about. When you think you know everything, you're done learning, or something like that.
Hold on. Okay. I know this would take a bit of time, but let me look back on this. You guys could ask me any questions while I look for this.
No, I agree, and I think when I say you have all the answers. A lot of it's more like, I'm thinking personal.
You can
like,
find them all yourself if you really want.
Yeah, exactly. Like they're all inside. I think a lot, especially when it comes to figuring out what makes you happy and what not. When I say all the answers are inside, I'm not saying, you can sit down and start fucking, but it takes what's inside you to find the answer. And whether that's you getting up one day and saying, I'm going to try this out because I think that might make me happy, I'm going to try that out, right? So that's kind of where I think, the answers are inside kind of comes from.
Yeah. So I have it here and I'll airdrop it to you after.
Okay.
You can find this on Twitter. Never be totally right. Being right means you're done learning. Being right means you're closed off from other ideas. Being right means you're satisfied with where you are and not focused on where you're going. Never allow yourself to be totally right. And that's a quote that I tell people now and I live by now, because if you say that you're right all the time, if you think that you're right, then when it comes to that you're wrong, what are you going to tell them?
Yeah, or you're not going to accept it.
You're not going to accept it.
Or you may not learn something new or see a different perspective.
And I think going back to that, it's like when you tell yourself that you're always right, that limits yourself now from learning.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
every day we're all learning something new, whether it's something big or small, whether I'm telling this to you right now, whether you learn something new.
Yeah.
Somebody watching this is probably learning and be like, wow, I had no idea.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And
that's what I'm doing while I'm sitting right here right now. I'm sitting right now saying I had no idea.
Yeah. And like I said, like this book, this author has actually changed my life. And one of the few people that is just a stranger to me that actually impacted my life in many different ways of all different aspects of life. And I encourage anybody out there to go read his book. He has 2 books actually, but the first book is honestly the stepping stone to living a better life.
My mom actually read that book, told me the same thing. Yeah. She's like, you have to read this book. And I've been fucking loafing.
Thing here, don't we?
It might be in here, actually. We have a stack of books. It actually might be in here. Okay, I'm on it. It's mine first.
And also, too, I'm going to call you out, guys. At the beginning of the podcast, you're like, we're going to wear the headphones.
Yeah.
We almost did the headphones, guys.
We almost did the headphones, but we needed another splitter. We didn't have it.
Sorry, guys.
It's on us.
I would have gave mine up.
No, you need it. You're the guest,
it was the vibe. It was the vibes.
It is a vibe.
Well, man, listen, Dean, where are we at?
Hour 10.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
See, no
it didn't feel like
flies,
it flies when you're on here, man.
Goes quick. Yeah, hour 12 now.
That's quick.
You know why, though?
You
know why, though? It's because anytime that you're watching a podcast, it goes by slower because you have to wait for the
juice.
End.
Yeah, you gotta wait for the juice.
And you gotta skip through all the the BS to know what the story is about. And then when you're in person, it just goes by so fast because you're not thinking about time.
Yeah,
you're not on your phone because there's another author. His name is Simon Sinek. He made a video called The Millennial Question, and it's a 15-minute video basically explaining 4 characteristics that millennials do that we're unconscious about. And for example, would be our phones.
Yeah, right here.
A quick example.
Easy.
My hand's just chilling on there. I'm just like hugging it right now.
We unconsciously know about us being on our phones around people, and when we're in a social group, 9 times out of 10, and this could be a random guess, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna be surrounded by somebody who's always on their phone nonstop, just looking at their phone, texting people. And what he says is, when you're texting somebody or on your phone in front of other people, you're telling the person in front of you that the person on their phone screen is more important to them than to the person in front of you, because you're taking away the social aspect of real life conversations and real life interactions with them. Yeah. And that's what people kind of forget. And I'm not gonna, you guys could look it up, but
well, for sure this whole time didn't help with everyone on their phones too. Now we're gonna come out of this and people are gonna be staring at their phones.
Of course, especially when
the youth too, man.
Especially when this pandemic hopefully ends on Ontario, people are gonna go back to being with each other and then being on their phone.
But taking those habits with them,
taking their habits with them. And I said, make it real quick, I've taken so much time during the last year of pandemic to really focus on myself, to really grow and learn different values that I could apply to other people, like being less on my phone, unless I have to. because my phone is my part of my work, and I'm sure you could relate to that, Dean, too.
110%.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's just like,
of course,
it you have to self-control is another thing. Balance it. You have to balance your self-control and balance what's more important to you. You have to set priorities.
You have to ask yourself those questions though too, right?
Exactly.
You have to say, what is more important than me?
Exactly. And if you don't ask yourself the most important questions, you're really losing out on knowing your own self.
I feel like you just go through the motions at that point, right?
Yeah.
You're just going with the flow, and whatever comes your way, you're dealing with it. If someone's in the room, you're on your phone. You're not thinking about it at that point. Just in cruise control.
Yeah, and like, sorry, I'm talking a lot, guys, because
Never say sorry. Never say sorry for talking on a podcast.
Yeah, no, because I don't wanna be that guy that talks too much over the host, because I'm the guest.
Oh, bro, if you see our podcast, we do this for the guest.
Yeah,
we literally do this for the guest. So we don't talk too much. We get a 1-2 snippet maybe for the reels, but that's it, man.
Well, I do enjoy the reels though, because it's like, it's educational.
Yeah,
thanks.
We're trying to just spit like quick. It's attention span online too. You can't make them too long, right? So 15-30 seconds.
And it was one. I don't feel like looking through my book, but the one thing that I did take away is that the questions that we're most afraid to answer are the most honest and truthful answers that we hold to ourselves.
Yeah. Just trying to like avoid it though. Most people. Yeah.
And so you have to ask yourself, what is the most fearful question that you're afraid to answer? That will unlock what you know about yourself, and what you're now you're now telling yourself, I'm not afraid anymore. Yeah. And that's what holds people back, is the fear of what others say, what others think, and what you think to yourself.
Yeah.
Damn, you're tripping me out, bro. It's 4:20 and I didn't even smoke a joint yet. I'm fucking tripping.
No, it's true, man. It's true.
It is 4:20,
yeah. Shout out 420.
Also, too.
Shout out 420. Just throwing that in there.
Because it's going to, what day is this going to be, are you thinking?
This will be like probably 2-3 weeks this comes out.
Okay, because...
probably like second week of May or something.
Yeah, because tomorrow, if you guys are not from Canada, because there might be international people watching, but in Canada it's gonna be snowing tomorrow.
Yeah.
I was supposed to snow last night too,
which I'm not happy about.
Buddy, fuck that.
Honestly, I'm not too mad about it because it does give some more vlog content.
Yeah,
plus the city shots are gonna look dope too.
100%,
right?
You get the content. Hey, you gotta take every opportunity, man. Every opportunity.
Yeah, exactly.
So what's next? What can we expect happening in the next couple months with you? What can we see? Okay. I know you got the YouTube going.
So the day that we're uploading this or filming this, I'm actually uploading a YouTube video, and later this week I'm going to be uploading another video on YouTube.
Damn.
This video that we're filming now is going to be in my next video.
Nice.
Okay.
So you guys going to be on YouTube again.
Oh, love it.
Other than that, just content creation.
Nice.
TikTok, Instagram. TikTok is actually such a big thing in terms of growth.
Yeah.
And it's actually amazing to see how many people have, been following me since I started, posting 3 months ago now. And in terms of what's next, I don't know what's next. Like I said, I sometimes like to plan on the spot.
Yeah.
I do want to go maybe to Banff in the summertime, especially because Moraine Lake, the most beautiful place in the world, my favorite place.
Dope. Content crazy over there.
Content is absolutely amazing in Alberta. So shout out to
I think we wanted to go just for a couple pics.
We've been saying we're gonna
go get a couple pics and come back.
No, trust me. I would honestly want to move to Banff.
Damn.
If I wanted to, I would move to Alberta.
Yeah.
And I want to create content there. We have a mutual friend named Aaron who's been on my channel before. We're planning on doing a lot of content in terms of traveling because he's a PR.
Yep.
So he's gonna, obviously plan out maybe possible campaigns, brands, events. Beautiful. Definitely concerts. I want to go to concerts again. Shoot some artists, portraits of.
Were you doing that a lot before too?
Yeah. So portrait photography has been a big thing to my career. Events. Concerts, festivals, those are such
all the fun stuff.
All the things we're praying to get back, man.
The good stuff.
Honestly, do you like taking concert photos, Dean?
I've actually never shot a concert myself. I primarily focus on mainly portraits, but
Dude, I'll throw a concert for you, no problem.
If Ernesto was on stage, I would be there 2, 3 cameras, 2, 3, 4 cameras in my hands. But no, not yet.
I would recommend you try it one day.
Yeah,
I think you would like it.
Yeah,
especially if you love shooting portraits. Shooting portraits in concerts, it gives a different vibe.
For sure, yeah. There's a lot of energy going on. I'm sure it's sick to capture some of that.
And you know what I picture myself doing someday? Something like a Rolling Loud or a Coachella or even a Veld.
Let's go.
I did this one time with this artist Zeko.
Jacko, yeah.
Yeah.
I was invited with him Veld 2019 right before this pandemic started.
Yeah.
I got a shot of him with his hand in the air with about 10,000 people in the crowd.
Beauty.
Now, what I want to say to myself as a goal is one day shooting where I'm behind this artist in front of a sold out crowd with all the lights shining and just him or her.
Yeah.
I don't want to categorize just males, but females too, and just have a landscape photo of one person with flashing
crazy
lights.
Crowd, yeah.
Like 50, 60,
like everyone just with their phone
70,000.
doing the flashlight thing, some crazy, what a moment that would
Yeah.
be.
We're gonna hold you to that, bro.
What do you think about that, Dean?
I'm right there with you, bro. I'm right there with you. That sounds like a good time.
He's the one person on stage.
Yeah, maybe I'll be playing the guitar. No, that sounds like a great time for sure. Yeah.
Like imagine that at like a baseball stadium, like doing it at Staples Center or ACC. I still like to call it ACC, but one of those big events where open space and you just have 10,000 people just like
crazy
cheering and even the video content. Do you do video?
I do a little bit of video. Yeah.
Video has actually been so fun for me now.
I'm gonna hold you in. We're gonna circle back to this in let's say a year for now. It might be longer, but we'll say a year just to start it off.
As the social media guys say, clip that.
Clip that. Exactly. Clip that. Well, look, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on, man. We're going to plug you in. Where can people find you?
So you can find me on YouTube. It's self-titled Jason Pagaduan, or you could search up 905 Shooter, depending on your preference. You can find me on Facebook. Don't really use Facebook much, but Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, even Clubhouse.
You got LinkedIn though?
Okay.
I have LinkedIn.
There you go. I was going to say, you need that.
I have LinkedIn, all 905 Shooter, which is honestly a blessing.
Dope.
Yeah, we're going to plug you.
Brand,
no one has
consistent
that.
brand across the board. Love
Yes.
that. Love that.
The consistency of having a uniform.
They find you everywhere.
Yeah, that's the thing. I
know.
I have that weird obsession of keeping things uniform.
We have the same obsession.
Oh, we're the same here, bro. We're the same here.
That's pretty swag though, to have all platforms with the same
thing.
Yeah.
Even LinkedIn.
Yes.
Let's
Damn,
go.
this guy really snapped.
Let's go. I love that.
Even on my Facebook link, it's like facebook.com//905 Shooter.
Let's go.
Unreal. Okay, well you guys are easy to find them.
Yeah, we'll plug you in. It won't be that hard. 905 Shooter. Put it anywhere. We'll find them.
Anywhere.
Dean, I'm gonna let you get us out of this, outro us out, because I usually just collab, but I want to, we got you on the mic today, so I think it's best you do it.
All right, well, you put me on the spot. I don't even know what to say. Well, I guess thanks for listening, everybody. I think it was a great discussion. I learned a lot for sure, and it was cool to hear your story, man. And I think it's going to inspire a lot of people to get out of a dark place and, maybe understand more about a dark place that other people are in for different reasons, right?
Definitely.
So it was sick to hear your story, and it was awesome, yeah.
You're going to make me cry, Dean.
We fucking out, boys.